What is up, guys? This is the Kings of Concacaf Podcast, where we highlight the U.S. men's national team, who are most definitely the Kings of Concacaf. I'm your host, Nate. This is the first of many episodes, and today we're going to be talking about the October camp, which is the upcoming camp, which starts tonight. We're going to be talking about the matchups that we have, the players that I am looking to watch, and players that I'm excited about. So, tonight we start with Jamaica at home in Austin. So Jamaica has struggled pretty, heavily in their first window. They are currently 8th, which is the last place in the standings. They do not have Michael Antonio. They do not have Leon Bailey. So this is a team that is definitely down in the dumps, and we should handle them easily, and it should be no challenge to us. Judging by the first window, we can't exactly trust what we should get done, will get done, but I think there's hope after that good performance at the end of the first window that we will handle Jamaica accordingly. Then we have Panama away on Sunday night, and they're currently in 4th position in the standings. They had a pretty solid first camp for Panama, for Panama standards. We definitely need to, at the minimum, draw this game. This is probably going to be our most difficult game of the window because Panama has played well. It is away. We all know how difficult it is to get results away from home in CONCACAF. But that being said, I think that this is a very winnable game, and I'm hoping that we can take care of Panama. I'm hoping that we're in good form against Jamaica and it carries over to Panama. We can get that win because coming away with 9 points is much better than coming away with 7 points or 6 points. Or if we do end up winning that second game and the first game, the Costa Rica game doesn't have as much weight as it did in the first window when that third game had so much weight. We drew the first 2 games, and it was a must-win, have-to-win game. Lastly, we have Costa Rica, which is on Wednesday. We play at home in Columbus, Ohio. This would be a great game to win. This is a must-win game because it is at home. As so many people are saying, all analysts, everyone on YouTube, anyone that knows anything about the U.S. men's national team knows you have to get results at home. So this is a must-win. If we can, finish the camp strong, that'll be good. Get us in a good standing. We can finish the camp with 9 points and overall 14 points. That would put us in a great scenario going into the November camp. So I'm going to highlight now the players that I'm going to watch, and I think you guys should watch as well. So to start off, players to watch would be Weston McKennie. Everyone knows what happened to him in this first camp. Obviously, he got kicked out of the camp because violating COVID protocols, whether it was a girl, whether it was, someone he met, whatever it was, he violated the protocols and, definitely has lost some trust within the team, within Greg Berhalter. I mean, Berhalter had claimed in a press conference that the issue was over, but everyone knows that, there's still going to be some underlying trust that needs to be regained back from Weston. So I think that he definitely needs to play really well in this camp to regain the trust of Greg, regain the trust of the fan base, and really to just prove to everyone that he is, that guy. He's that guy that's going to be the leader in the next 10 plus years for the U.S. men's national team. He is, I think 23 or 24, so 10 years is to say that he'd play for the next 10 years is not, out of the ordinary. It's not a hot take. So we've seen the success that he's had for the U.S. men's national team, so he definitely needs to improve, play very well in this camp so that he can get back in good standing with the whole team, the fan base, with Greg. My second player to watch would be Ricardo Pepi. Obviously, Pepi played extremely well in the final game of last window. He is, our saving grace, the U.S. men's national team's saving grace. He just about won that game by himself for us. So he is someone to definitely watch for, because if he's able to sustain that that form for this camp. I mean, I think he basically solidifies his name in the starting spot for, months to come, definitely for the rest of the World Cup qualifying, because of the inconsistencies with the other number 9s that we have had over the past, year or so. I mean, obviously you have Josh Sargent, who, has not scored in a very long time, has not impressed in a very long time, and you have Pifak, who has played well for his club. I mean, he scored the winner in the Nations League semifinal, but overall he hasn't impressed very much. You have guys like Daryl DK, who he's a good finisher, but not great with the ball at his feet. Gets the ball taken away a lot. So, and then obviously Zardes, who is in this camp. None of them have really impressed very much when it comes to the men's national team over the past year. So Pepi is definitely someone that we need to watch, see how he performs with this second test in the men's national team. So the third player that I'm going to highlight to watch would be John Brooks. So as everyone knows, John Brooks did not have a very good camp last camp, and he was subbed out at halftime at that last game, and not great at all. So I think that with guys like Miles Robinson definitely showing up in the last camp, showing up in Gold Cup, John Brooks' spot might not be as solidified as it has been in the past. You got guys like Chris Richards, who starts in the Bundesliga at Hoffenheim, and so if this window comes and Chris Richards plays extremely well and Miles Robinson plays extremely well, or a guy like Mark McKenzie plays extremely well, John Brooks' spot might not be there, anymore. Obviously, I think he's going to get called into the camp regardless for the next couple years. He'll be part of the 2022 roster, I'm sure, but that starting spot where it's like a guaranteed spot for John Brooks, might not be there anymore if he can't prove to Greg that he is the player that he can be. So we'll have to see what happens, but definitely Brooks needs to play well in order to keep that spot as the guaranteed start at the center back position. So we're going to transition now to 4 players that I'm very excited about for this camp. Players that haven't played in the camp. They weren't there last time, but then some players that were. So I'm going to start off with Gianluca Busio. He is a player that I love. People will compare him to Pirlo, call him the American Pirlo, and I think that might be a stretch right now. I think that puts a lot of pressure on him at such a young age, but I mean, obviously he is still super young, has lots of talent. We've seen it in the MLS. We saw him score last weekend for Venezia, so he got that move to Europe. He's progressing pretty well in Europe, so I'm very excited to see how he plays in a game that matters. Obviously, he was part of the Gold Cup, but he didn't get the start in the Gold Cup final, and playing games that matter for the U.S. men's national team is definitely different than playing games that don't matter for the men's national team, because he really got the majority of his minutes when in the group stage of the Gold Cup. Second player who I'm very excited to watch is Brendan Aronson. I'm a Philly guy, so seeing him play very well is, makes me happy, because he grew up in the academy, homegrown player, and now he's shining in Europe, shining for the men's national team. So I'm really excited. He had a great last camp, scored twice, and was definitely a spark plug, chasing down balls, making the defenders make mistakes. So I think he's definitely due for another great camp. The third player that I'm going to highlight that I'm very excited about is Yunus Musa. Yunus Musa is a guy that has a very, very high ceiling. Obviously, when you captain an England youth side, you're going to be a very good player. So he captained an England youth side before he ended up deciding to come to the United States and play for us. So he has so much talent. He has a lot of ceiling. I'd say he has the highest ceiling of anyone on the team besides maybe Gio Reyna. Because Gio Reyna, obviously everyone knows he is so good. He's played well just about every single game he's played in for the U.S. men's national team, and also he's played well in the Bundesliga, scoring crazy goals, assisting to Haaland, assisting to Royce. He's played really well, and at such a young age, the possibilities are endless. So, that being said, besides Reyna, I think Musa has the highest ceiling. You could even argue that Musa has just as high of a ceiling as Reyna, but Musa hasn't quite proven himself like Reyna has. So, that is he is definitely someone that I'm very excited for, also because of his versatility. Last weekend for Valencia, he played out on the wing, which is great for us because, for whatever reason, Greg Berhalter did not bring in very many wingers. So having Musa as an option off the bench at wing, or even starting at wing if Weah doesn't start, or if Aronson doesn't start, or if Pulisic comes back, because Greg hinted that, Pulisic or Reyna may end up coming back. So if either one of them come back and play on the wing, then, having Musa come off the bench on the wing would be nice to have, because I don't really want to have Paul Arriola or Christian Roldan be the first guy off the bench. That being said, Christian Roldan is a good spark plug. Arriola is a good spark plug, but, they're just not going to give you, that extra thing. They're just going to be pretty normal level players. They're going to do kind of what they're asked, but they're not going to do extra. They're not going to be scoring crazy goals. They're not going to be making amazing passes. So I think that Musa could be great, play alongside Adams, or he could play wing. So we'll see how that works this camp. Eager to see if Greg puts him out in the wing, because who knows what Greg will do. For all we know, he'll have, Leggett and Acosta playing in the midfield, and he'll start Roldan and Ariel. But, Greg being Greg. So, the fourth player that I am very excited to watch in this camp would be Matthew Hopp. Obviously, he was a very exciting player to watch in the Gold Cup. He scored a goal, the winner, in, I believe, the quarters or the semifinals or whatever it was, to in the very end of the game, which was great. He's scoring goals in the Bundesliga, scoring hat-tricks in the Bundesliga for a very bad Schalke team, which is very exciting that we might have another young guy that can score goals for us, like Pepe can or has started to. So I think that Hoppe is someone that he is definitely another player that has a pretty high ceiling, because he's a very hard-working guy. When someone isn't called up to the national team at all as a youth-level guy, there's definitely hunger for these guys, because they haven't had that experience. So they're working harder to get in the national team. They're working harder to get into club teams. Americans in general definitely don't have the same opportunities when it comes to playing in Europe, because there's a stigma that, Americans are nowhere near as good as other players, because, historically that is definitely accurate, but it is exciting to me, and as I'm sure as anyone else listening is exciting to them, because of, the culture changing in U.S. soccer, U.S. men's national team, because of so many good players coming through. The academies in the United States are getting much better, and I think that USA being bad at soccer is not going to last for much longer, which is great. So that being said, I'm going to wrap up the episode. I'm very excited about this camp. I'm eager to see how it plays out and which players do well, which players might fall out of the team, and if we're able to get those 9 points, or if we're going to maybe disappoint again and we're going to, have a situation like 2018 where we're to the very, very end of qualifying and we're still not sure if we're qualified. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Let's hope that this camp goes well and that we're able to get the results that we need to get no injuries. So hopefully, no one gets injured, because we saw what happened last camp, lots of injuries. So everyone stays healthy, people play well, perform, we get done what needs to get done. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host, Nate, signing off of the CONCACAF Podcast.